Welcome to the Falconcast. I hope everyone had a great weekend. We've got a fantastic show planned for you today. As that Astros girl from Twitter is going to join us, Christelle's going to join us, and Dr. Linville is going to join us and talk a little bit more about just fixing hair and boobs. So that'll be fun. Uh, he'll be later in the show, but today we got a lot of great stuff for you, and I hope your weekend was okay. Mine was pretty quiet. We went out bar hopping on Saturday with a friend of mine, and we ran into our 20-something Florida friends, and one of them I'm going to have on the show because he has a knowledge of 80s obscure rock music that I've never seen from anybody other than myself. And we started talking about Y&T, which none of you have ever heard of. It's like, how does a kid know this? And then Sunday was really quiet. I just decided I was going to go to the Phoenix, which I'll talk about in just a second here. But decided to stay home with Kira because I was going out the door and she gave me that look like, dude, you were gone for 4 hours yesterday. Stick around. So we sat around, started drinking. Not her, I mean just me, watching the Open Championship. Which, by the way, is that not the most pretentious coverage of any sport ever? I mean, I love watching golf, and when I'm not broken down physically, I love playing golf. But oh my God, that was such a dramatic moment, him getting out of the rough. It's like, no, it wasn't. It's rough. Some of it's tougher than others. These guys are good. They're supposed to be able to get out of the rough. So watch that. Watch the Astros game. Did our little bit where Kira and I split our Astros peanuts, and enjoyed that. And then watched CFL, and that was it. Pretty quiet. Just drank too much, but shocker. So I got two things for you today, and if you want to weigh in on how drunk are you, be my guest. I just started my first one, so we'll see how long it lasts. And so I'm right now at a 0, but hopefully by the end of the show I'll be at a 2. And Thursday, I think we're gonna go ahead and start our new drinking game. And I'm curious what you guys think on the Twitch. Please weigh in. I think we're gonna do every time I do a movie reference, then everybody takes a shot who's playing along. And Chuck D's at a -10. But the reality is, oh, you're at work. Okay, well, that never stopped me. But the idea would be, I'd set the over under at 4, because usually I do a couple that I don't even realize I'm doing, and then there's always a couple that just sort of fit the conversation, right? Flea's already 3 Galveston Bay Crowlers into his Monday, feeling no pain. You're way ahead of me, brother. So, yeah, so I think we're going to start that Thursday, but a couple of things just to set everything up. If you guys want to watch, there's several ways to do it. I read the comments on Twitch, and I know a lot of people comment on Facebook. It's hard for me to keep up with both because I'm an old man and I drink a lot. So if you want to comment, go to the Twitch channel. It's live on Facebook. It's live on Twitter. It's live on YouTube. And then within 15 minutes after the show, we'll be up on Spotify, Apple Music, all those things. And plus there's a cool community on Twitch. You can have fun with them. If I get boring on you, then you guys can make fun of each other, and it works really well. And yeah, so everything's going great. If you want to email me, you can do that. It's thefalconcast@yahoo.com. And this is the reason why I shouldn't be sober, because I tweeted out that the Falconcast was going live. And how often do I say the Falconcast for Twitch, for everything, right? Email. Guess what I left off when I tweeted it out? So first tweet I've had to delete in a while. So maybe I should start sooner. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, let me tell you guys though. And by the way, if you want to contribute to the show, that's one way to do it. If you got a friend who wants to advertise, we got 2 new ones starting in August. Man, if we get one more premium, then we can go to a third day. So just have them hit me up at thefalconcast@yahoo.com. Or, if you just want to contribute to the show, a lot of you have asked how. Venmo's at Fred Faour, and then thefalconcast at PayPal, and just whatever you want to do is really cool. And I got to tell you about one of our premium sponsors and one of my favorite guys, the Phoenix on Westheimer, Vu's Place. Listen, if you're a soccer fan, then this is the place to go. It is the best soccer bar in the city. Now, it's not just a soccer bar, because when the weather is not 400 degrees, I take Kira and we sit on the back and watch the Astros games, and we'll be doing that with football. But Yeah, they have an amazing kitchen, all kinds of great food. They are open for every Women's World Cup game through August 20th. Now, in the middle of the night, you can get food. Kitchen will be open, but you have to stay within TABC hours for alcohol. So, you can't go out there and get drunk in the middle of the night. So maybe you're already there. But if you're into the soccer, they got you covered. Get out there and check it out. And the big thing coming up on August 26th, and I'm going to put the link onto the chat here. If you can't make it out, so this wonderful young man Daniel was in a car accident. He's paralyzed from the waist down. He's a single parent. He can't work. So we're going to raise money. We've got a really big fundraiser lined up. It'll be over on their navigation property because it's going to be big. And we've got some of the best chefs in the city. They're going to have pit barbecue, all kinds of great stuff like that you can come and buy. And we'll also have live bands, including the return of Dead Money. Had to get a new guitarist, but we'll be there, and all new set list. And I'm really excited to trot that out. And actually my co-singers are going to be there this time. So make plans for the 26th. We're also going to have Pick Me events out there, which is one of our new advertisers. And you guys from the Blitz days know Michael, who's Michael Get Me. They have a great setup where, they can take professional pictures just like you would at a wedding. And so we're going to have as many famous people as we can be there to go and get their pictures taken with you. We've got some memorabilia for sale and everything else. In the meantime, go support Vu on the Westheimer. You'll find me there every Friday afternoon, at least 2 or 3 times a week. It's my place to go just to chill and sometimes to work. But if you go in the afternoons, good chance you're going to see me there. Say hello to all the great bar staff there, Camilla and Bailey and Derek and Liz, all of them, and say hello to Vu if you see him. He's always there, including in the middle of these soccer games. So it's the Phoenix on Westheimer. Fantastic place. All right, let's jump right in. I'm really excited about our next guest. Cherie, you know her as That Astros Girl on Twitter. And she's really a remarkable person, and she's turned herself into a Twitter superstar by not being a troll, right? And she's done it by being personable, being a fan, but not, I think the only negative thing I've ever seen her say is, please no Montero. But Cherie, welcome to the show. Whoops. Did you mute yourself?
There we go.
Yeah, there we go. See, I gave Lawyer Dave grief for that the other day, but Lawyer Dave's 70 years old. He's on there, what am I gonna do? But yeah, so thanks for coming on, man. We were talking before. I've admired you from afar for a long time. I can't believe we've never actually met in person as many times as we've probably both been at Kobo's before a game.
Right.
But yeah, and you've got a cool new thing you're doing, which I'm very excited for you. I know you did the first one last week. Mm-hmm. Tell people about that and how they can get it.
Okay, our show is called Juice Box Banter. I do it with Monica. We're on the PSF app, and I'm on the Astros team. There's 4 teams, and we take turns all doing our own broadcast live during the game. And the idea is that you jump on while you're watching the game at home or wherever you're at, and you get to watch the game kind of like with us. Like we talk back and forth with the people that are watching, like in the chat. We live react to the game, and I don't know. I love it. It's super chill. You can like go back and forth, when you're reacting to the game, and the people that are in the chat room are reacting to the game. We get to talk and react to each other as well. So it's really fun.
Yeah, that's awesome, and that's great, and I think that's perfect for you now. That because you're tweeting a lot of times during the games too, but yeah. It's better to have instant reaction that people can respond to and they can see you.
Yeah.
So that started last week, right? I mean, is that all the way through baseball season? Basically, you're going to do it to the end of the season, till the end of the World Series. Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah, that's the plan. So.
All right. One thing we talked about Twitter and how you kind of built a nice following. And, I have issues with some people on Astros Twitter for a lot of reasons, but then there's some really good ones, right?
Yeah.
And those are the ones I like the best and that I usually wind up following. And you just, and we'll get to the Breggy Sox because they're more popular than anything right now. But you built this thing up, and you're not afraid to talk about other stuff. Like when you have a bad diabetes day, you're not afraid to put that on there. And how did you get to this point without being a stone troll, I guess is my question.
I actually have basically no idea how I've gotten to where I'm at. I have like no experience in any of this. And I think just because I've been on it for a while and I'm consistent and I'm just kind of myself and I just tweet whatever I'm thinking, and I don't think before I tweet, that sometimes helps with the content, I think. So, but anyways, I just try to be real and don't chase anything, but allow things to come as they come and just enjoy it. And I don't try to tell people how to fan either. I have my way of fanning, and I think sometimes I'm maybe too positive, too hopeful, I don't know, but I just do things the way I want to do it. And, the followers have just kind of come over the years steadily. So,
yeah, it's funny because when I was doing the thing with Mattress Mac, that's all he wanted was positive coverage on anything, which is why I didn't write much Texans at the time. But there is something in sports, I think, that gets lost, and maybe I'm doing radio as long as I did. I got cynical as hell, but I think there's still a kid in you that's a fan, right? And I think that there are positive stories. And I was having this talk with Dana Holgerson, the UH coach, over a few adult beverages, and he was saying that everybody talks about how horrible our season was last year. We lost 3 games in the last minute, and they really only had 1 game where they got blown out. And yet everybody, all my UH fans, and I know you're listening, and yes, I'm friends with Dana, so just go ahead. But they're losing their mind. Oh, he's got to go. And sometimes it's not always the wins and losses. Sometimes it's just the good stuff that happens, and there's a lot of fun stuff that happens, like the Dubon homer yesterday. I didn't see that coming. And it's cool, and I think that's one thing I really appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded like Dubon was saying he wasn't even expecting it to happen. So.
Yeah, and he botched the play before that with the hit and run, so it worked out. But it's weird how that happens. But it's funny though with the Astros, and it's such a long season, and now you got a big series coming up. Do you get more pumped for this, or because you always seem to be close to 100 at all times?
Yeah. No, but the Rangers, it's just that much more great when we do good against them. Obviously for our, standings, but just personally, it feels that much better to beat them. So
I'm glad they're good again. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it does make it more fun.
It was no fun when they were beating up on the Astros when the Astros are losing 100 games. It was no fun when and the Astros beat up on them. And now it's like, okay, this is kind of fun. I can see where this might create some healthy hatred.
Yeah.
It does so wanted to ask you about a couple other Astros related things besides that series. And we were talking before, you're going to get to go to Yankee Stadium for the Yankee series.
Yes, I'm so excited. We're going to 2 of the games, so I can't wait. Last time I went, it was, pre 2017. And so I don't think a lot of the Yankee fans were that worried about me being there. So I'm a little bit more nervous this time because I'm still going to have to sport all my Astros gear, and I'm going to be yelling and screaming. So I'm a little bit more nervous than before, but I'm still excited just to be in Yankee Stadium again too.
Yeah, I will go on record, and I know there's Twitter warfare because of all the other stuff, but most of the times when I've gone to New York, New Yorkers are a lot cooler than you think. They just sound so abrupt. That's just their nature. And a couple of my business partners are New Yorkers, and I love working with them. But yeah, there's times when I'm like, what are you saying to me? How much money did you make? And I can't do a New York. I can do every other kind of accent. It's really weird. I can't do New York, and I can't do Arabic, even though I'm half Arabic. I don't know why. The other stuff, fine Southern gentleman, I can do. East Texas, I can do. I mean, it just for some reason I can't get New York. And I would never attempt Boston because that's by far the worst. So trade deadline coming up. What do you think needs to be done? I'm kind of a minimalist on this. I think they just need to get guys healthy. You get Jordan back in that lineup, but I also look at some of the prospects. I'm like, I don't know if these guys are going to cut it. So what do you think?
Yeah, and I agree with the minimalist part. And I always have a hard time during this, couple weeks leading up to the trade deadline because there's like nothing we can control and we don't know what's going to happen. And I talked about this on my show. And so I'm kind of to the mind frame where I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait for something to happen. And then I'll react like either way. Of course, like picking up a pitcher would be nice just because of the injuries and stuff. But I mean, we've been doing decently already without like our two main like offensive guys and Alvarez and Altuve. So I'm excited to see what it looks like when they come back. But I don't know. I'm always just like, oh, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But about Cease and Stroman, and I've been looking at their stats and everything and what we might have to give up. And I don't know. I just hold my breath.
Well, and then every time you look and say, wow, that they need to do something with the pitchers. And you get a guy like JP France who, where the hell did this guy come from? And those glasses. I don't know where the hell he came from, but he's pitching really well.
Yeah. Even Belak's been doing better and everything lately. And, I think he's pitching tonight too. So we'll see, obviously, tonight with the Rangers, how he does. But they always end up surprising me who we already have. And it's so hard for me. Like, I know I'm too emotional with our players, but it's so hard for me to like see people leave. And with our prospects, I'm not sure we're going to be able to get a lot from them. And so I think a lot of people are looking at like our current roster players, and it's so painful to let any of them go. And I think that's another part of the reason why I kind of just like hold my breath and wait.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I think, you get attached to your players, but then there's always ways to get better. And and we'll have to see. I mean, the new GM hasn't been through this yet. Now, I think Jim Crane makes most of the real decisions anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing Jeff Luna was really good at. He gave up a lot of prospects, but he always got something that got to the World Series. And so I'm a firm believer in, hey, if somebody wants Jake Myers and I can get somebody better for this run, thanks. Although I'm not a big Jake Myers guy. I don't know if it's I don't like handsomes.
So it's not that big of a sacrifice for you.
No. But I think pitching wise, the real key is just getting healthy. And before the season, they went 7 deep in starting pitchers, and now you lose McCullers. I'd like to see what happens when Urquidy gets back. It's just it's one of those things that everybody deals with it. The Rangers really haven't dealt with it much, but go look at the Angels and all the guys they've lost, and they had homeless guys out there a couple weeks ago. So it's just part of the game. But I always say, just get me ready for October, and that's another slander on Astros Twitter that drives me nuts is about Dusty, and it's like, he did win the World Series last year, and everybody would bitch about the lineups and the pitching, but by the time he got to September, he had everything running the way it was supposed to run. And I anticipate that happening. See, I'm being all positive. What the heck? How did that happen?
See what I do to people?
All right, I want to just hit you with a couple more things. And you're technically a media caster now, which new term. I guess that's for young people. But tell them the link that they can go watch it first off.
Well, you can go find the PSF app and download that, and then just go find the Astros room. That's where I'm a part of. There's a different show every night. Like I was saying, there's 4 teams. My next show will be Wednesday. If you want the actual like direct link, you can go find me on Twitter at that Astros girl, or you can look up PSF app, their Twitter page as well. But any of those places, and my next show, like I said, is Wednesday. So.
Well, and she's just that Astros girl on Twitter. There's not any underscores or any goofy stuff. Just go find her. She's a great follow. She's a lot of fun. And I see on there sometimes you have to deal with some nonsense, and I think you handle it about as well as anyone could, because I'm sure what you talk about is 1/10 of what you get sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, now that it's X instead of Twitter, God knows what's going to happen. So, hey, a couple more before I let you go. I know you tweet about this a lot, that teachers having to buy their own supplies, I just find reprehensible. And I know you've got a lot of friends who need supplies, and I've got this fundraiser here, but if I'm still alive next year, we're going to do one and raise a bunch of money for this. But tell people about that a little bit and how they can help.
Well, first off, I mean, if you want, you can go to my page on Twitter, just that Astros Girl, like I said before, and I've retweeted a lot of people that are still trying to get some help. A lot of my friends, reached out to me and said, I haven't had one person yet donate to my classroom. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. We only have like a week. And that's not to say that they're not trying to prepare and do what they can, but, we're working with very limited resources from the district, from our own salary. So, and also the expectations for teachers are so much higher now. And so we're trying to do our best. We want to give the kids the best education they can have. And so, a lot of these teachers could just use the extra help, but I know they have the running hashtag on Twitter, clear the list. So if you search that up, it'll come up with some teachers. If you're weary about just doing it with random people, the people that I've retweeted, I know. And so those might be people to look into if you just want to donate a few things to a few lists. So.
Awesome. All right. One last thing, and feel free to make fun of me. I don't know how you do it. I dated up until about 2 months ago, and I just quit. And I tried everything. I tried my friends hooking me up. That didn't go well, by the way. That's one friend still mad at me over that. I tried online. I just don't know. And I'm not going to, I have my drinking buddies, but they're all barflies just like me. That's not the right place.
No, it's not the right venue.
I got a dog. I got good friends that I hang out with, and I'm kind of in that I don't know how you do it mode. My other friends are the same way. It's like, well, I don't know where to meet anybody. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
We'll sit here and drink and watch Astros games together. It's all good. Well. So there, those are not answers. So I will.
Wait, what was your questions?
Where do you find people?
Well, I don't.
I'm betting.
I don't actually. So I've dated, obviously in the past, and this year I actually told myself I'm not going to date at all. So I have accepted no dates this year. Nothing. I joke on Twitter all the time and say I'm married to the game. I have more room left in my heart. I have my students, I have my kids, my family, I have a lot of good friends, and it just takes up so much time. So I'm taking this year off. I'm just enjoying myself. I think maybe if you do want to find a girl, find her at church or HEB. That's my advice.
Everybody's telling me HEB, and I'm over in the Montrose HEB
section. Find a healthy girl in the health section.
That's a good plan. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really content taking a little time off myself right now.
Yeah. It's a mess out there.
Yeah. It's worse than it was the last time I was single. I can tell you that, and that was bad. So, hey, thanks so much for coming on. Guys, follow her on Twitter at that Astros Girl. She's a great follow. Check out her show, and I hope we can have you on again and see where the Astros are in a couple weeks.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I can't make fun of Lawyer Dave for being muted last time because she was muted when she first came on.
I'm not the only one, huh? Good.
So I apologize from the depths of my heart.
Apology accepted.
All right, man. Tell people all about, they got to hear you Thursday, and man, they loved hearing you. And we got into a bunch of other stuff, mostly because you and AJ make fun of me, and it's kind of funny. But tell them about the important stuff, about the legal genius that you are out there slaying people with that axe.
Well, there's truth to that. I am Lawyer Dave. My telephone number is 713-626-8900. You can also find me at I got a lot of websites, but anyway, just call me or find me through Fred. What I do as a lawyer is I represent literally thousands of people with a staff of 25 or 30 when they get hurt. And people come to me in all kinds of ways that they've been hurt. Most recently, we had a young lady who rented a scooter in Austin and started off going downhill, and when she tried to stop, lo and behold, no brakes. So she ate it hard, has a closed head injury.
Mm.
And of course, the people that owned and rented the scooter, somehow the scooter mysteriously disappeared. So
Hmm.
those kind of cases get me pretty fired up, because no fault of her own, and she got hurt pretty bad. So those kinds of cases are the kinds we take. We also represent workers that are subject to injury from refineries exploding or having chemical leaks, acid leaks. Those kind of things can really affect a person's lungs. Additionally, and most commonly, we represent people in car wrecks. Somebody gets run into from behind, somebody gets sideswiped. We recently had a case that we were able to settle where this woman claimed it was a bad accident. My client's car flipped 5 times and he was badly hurt and rendered unconscious at the scene, while the driver of the other vehicle fled the scene. We found the owner of the vehicle, and her story was, well, my niece was intoxicated at a bar in Texas City. So I left the keys of my 2014 Range Rover on the dashboard, and lo and behold, somebody came by and stole it. Hmm.
Hmm.
I said to the judge in Galveston County, right. Somebody's going to park a Range Rover in a parking lot at a honky tonk bar and leave the keys on the dash. No. So the carrier, because we know all the carriers in town, and we have good relationships with all the various lawyers and the adjusters, they're like, yeah, we don't find that very credible either. And so we'll pay you the money. Uh, anyway, so any kind of an accident anywhere in the United States, and actually I'll talk about that in a second if you'd like me to, my recent experience overseas, um, we take a look at, and if it's a legitimate accident with real injuries, we help people out. Now, Fred, you know from times past that oftentimes people don't have the money or know where there's a doctor to help get their treatment they need. So we hook them up with that. We send them to doctors in their area with no money out of their pocket. And that allows them to get the treatment they need, get better, get back to work.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
Go
you don't
ahead.
charge a dime unless you win, right? And that's the
Yeah.
thing. And if you don't have a case, Dave's going to tell you. He's going
Yep.
to shoot you straight. If you do have a case that's not in his purview, he's going to get you to the right person.
That's
That's why
right.
he's the best. So,
Well, thank you for that, Fred. One other one that I find very interesting, you sent to me, where these two sisters were mistakenly identified in the New York Post as having undergone an abortion, late term abortion, and the other sister having helped get her the abortion that she wanted. Completely false. Neither of the sisters had anything to do with it. That's what we call defamation. And I have drafted a petition that we're filing in Brazoria County, whereby the New York Post is going to come on down from New York and explain to a Brazoria County jury how you can accuse two law-abiding, God-fearing women, and I've got nothing against abortion, believe me, I'm not saying that, but how you can put these two women's photographs in a newspaper that has 4.9 million people supposedly looking at it and falsely claim that they did something they didn't do. So those kind of cases interest me as well.
yeah, she's a sweet woman. So I hope that works out. And
I think it will.
yeah, I felt pretty good about it when I told you about it from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, as somebody who was in that business for a long time and knew the steps we had to take to prevent, stuff like this happening. Yeah. So anyway, I hope that goes well. All
Well,
right,
the thing
Dave.
is, Fred, that you know that these two women then enlisted the services of a former CIA agent to tell them what to do if they're followed, what to do if some unknown person comes to their house or to the place of business, which is a freestanding building. So the paranoia level of these two young ladies was completely unjustified and scared the living crap out of them.
Now,
So,
government contractor is what he goes by. Just a former government contractor.
ooh, I'm in my prime. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff that I do. And shout out to Jermaine.
Oh, yeah, Jermaine loves you. All the
Well,
people
I
love
love
you.
him too.
That's why it's good to have you back, man.
Now, here's the thing I will also share with y'all that are watching and are listening is that it doesn't matter to me if you have a question that you might think is silly or that you're uninformed and you might feel dumb. Fred asks me questions all the time. And frankly, a lot of those, depending on how many Jägermeisters or Rumpelmans he's consumed, can get up there to the point where they might not be so good. But I'll tell you, folks, any question you have, I'll be glad to answer. And if it's in an area of law that I don't do, I will send you to someone who does. I've been doing this for more than 30 years. I have helped thousands of clients, and I'm glad to answer anybody. It's a privilege to have this job. It really is.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really cool how many blitzers and now falconers or whatever the hell we're going to call everybody. You can just reach out to me on Twitter if you can't remember the numbers for any of our big guys. I'll put you in touch with them right away, and Lawyer Dave will take care of you. And I can't recommend anybody any higher. And you know that we've been doing this together now for how many years when we're on the Blitz, and I
7 or 8 years,
still,
I think, Fred, all in from the time you and I began
yeah,
chatting
and
and having a few pops together.
yeah, every now and then, yeah. So that's why I don't have time to date, is I get to hang out with Lawyer Dave and my friends all the time. So
Wait a minute, Fred. That sounds a little strange.
it's
And I'm
okay.
glad to have you hang out with me. But as far as dating, not your dog, not anybody. Oh, let's just strictly stay with the female persuasion when you're of a mind to.
Uh,
Okay,
oh
Fred?
no, I was getting advice from Cherie before he came on. That's what that's about. That was what we call a callback. So
Well, there you go. Okay. She's a fallback because she looks
no,
pretty
that
tasty
was a
to me.
callback to my joke where I asked her. Never mind. Please,
I'm sorry, Fred. I'm
please said
sorry.
you. I thought you were listening because you had just popped on when I did that. So
Well, I was listening, but I also have another job to do, and so it might have been someone came in to share their story of what we need to do tomorrow. Because at this point in my career, they wind me up and point me in a given direction, and off I go.
all right. Well, give them the number one time. Tell them what to do. Appreciate you coming on. We'll keep doing this because there's always fun stuff to talk about. I mean, well, it's always sports. I mean, some of these cases are fascinating,
Yeah,
and I know some of them you can't talk a lot about, but it's always fun to get into that. So give them the number one more time, and I will catch up with you later this week, I'm sure.
that'll be great. Someone asked online how much is a divorce. Man, that can vary from $1,000 to all the money you have. But if you contact me, yeah, Fred knows. He didn't take my advice, by the way. I'm still mad at him for that. But uh,
Well, I couldn't. That was a conflict of interest. You guys were friends too, or else you'd have been on it the whole time.
right. Well, that's another subject which I will bitch slap you for again later. However, as to the friend, find me. I think I still have a Twitter handle.
Lawyer Dave Law.
Lawyer Dave Law, and I think I think I've got an email address or a website that feeds to me. But anyway, I'm DKM at MANDS attorneysplural.com, DKM at MNSattorneys.com. My telephone number is 713-626-8900. Yo hablo español también, porque quieres una conversación para mí. En español está bien para mí, okay? Okay, Fred. So when somebody needs a lawyer, what do they better do?
They better dial Dave.
You got it, buddy. All right.
All right,
Thanks,
man. I'll talk to you
everybody.
soon. Yeah, in case you didn't guess, Dave and I kill a lot of brain cells together. He's not just my lawyer; he's my friend, and he's a lot of fun. 70 years old, he can still play basketball every Wednesday night, and still can shoot the three. So I don't know what happened to Chris Dell, but check in with everybody. Welcome, Heartthrob. And Chuck wants to know where's Trey's mom. And Heartthrob asked, the Bills lost Naheem Hines for the year after getting struck by a jet ski opening for Dalvin Cook. Now, I would make that phone call. I like Dalvin Cook. I think he's a hell of a player. All right, so I'm going to have Dr. Linville pop on in a minute because there's some fun things we couldn't get to last week because they just wanted to come on and say hello to AJ. It's been a long time, and they all love him. B. Hannon, thanks for being there. I appreciate all you guys on Twitch, man. You're fantastic. So, all right, so Saturday afternoon, and welcome. It's Chewy713, by the way. So, yeah, if you want to comment, get on the Twitch. I'll check the Facebook comments. Man, I got to figure out a way to disconnect my phone from the computer because every time somebody tries to give me a call, you get the damn do. Okay, so Saturday afternoon, I'm my friend Lauren, who is a delightful young lady. She and I are longtime drinking buddies, and we like to make fun of each other. And she loves the Falconcast. She's a big Blitz fan, and so every now and then we'll just go bar hop on a Saturday, right? So we went. And the age-old thing about how, we talk. I've now done this with Tiny Greg. AJ agreed with me. July, worst sports month on the planet, right? Much worse than February, because here was what was on TV, and the Open was over before this, right? And so there's nothing, man. And I'm just looking at it, it's just baseball, and I don't care about baseball. It's not the Astros right now. I'll start watching as we get farther in. But there was something called the WFA, the Women's Football Alliance. And it's on ESPN. And hey, God bless those girls for being out there. They're out there battling. And I know there's like 58 teams around the country. Because I did what I always do. I start Googling, what the hell am I watching? And I will just say, and I'm going to be as polite as possible. I mean, I'm glad they have a tackle league and they have fun. But any football league where all the skill players are kind of chunky white girls, you're not going to get a lot of action there, man. I'm sorry. But I'm going to bounce that off AJ on Thursday because I'm sure he'll have some more provocative opinions. But the only thing I could do, man, I'm sitting there watching this game, and this poor coach, they keep showing this coach on the sideline. This was a championship game, too. And this is the guy who was on the losing end. And he's just got this look on his face. It's like, what the hell went wrong with my coaching career that this is where I wound up? I mean, I can't even get a DB's coaching job in the XFL. But it's every now, like I always give something a chance when because there's nothing else on, right? And yeah, there's a lot of commentary that Lauren and I did at the bar that, frankly, I probably shouldn't do on the podcast because I don't want to get canceled, and I don't want to piss off my sponsors. And speaking of which, not just a sponsor but a friend. I'm going to bring on Dr. Kane Linville.
What's up, man?
Have you ever seen a women's professional tackle?
No, I was listening to you talk about it, and I'm not too enticed to turn it on, I can tell you.
Well, it's funny how I find things. Like I miss. Okay, now I'm gonna sound like the old guy who misses the old days. But when ESPN first started, and they had Aussie rules football and sumo wrestling and that damn yacht competition in the middle of the night, I love that stuff.
Yeah,
mainly because I was working until 2 a.m. at the news. Well, working until 2 and then drinking until 3 because the bar let us stay there. And then I'd get home and that was all it's on, Aussie rules football. And I'm like, I love this. This is cool.
Aussie rules football is great.
Yeah. So I wonder what happened to all that we have to have, the Women's Football Alliance. But, and come to find out, there is a team in Houston.
No. Okay.
The Houston Energy. And I remembered this because when I first started ESPN 97.5, Julie Takahashi, who worked there, she played for him. And so I'm going to see if I can track her down and have her come on, just not when AJ's on with me.
We should just go. We should just forego all the lead up, and you and I should just go to a game. That's what we should do. But I guess we have to wait a whole year now.
Oh, well, how about this? What if we went to a game like Cherie's doing with the Astros. What if we went to a game and did a live podcast commenting?
Yeah.
That'd be
See,
the
there you
funniest
go.
thing ever.
We'll turn it into a positive.
I'll make sure if anybody gets canceled, though, it's me. You know.
That's all right. It's
Yeah,
okay.
well, that's what's cool is I was joking with you after the show the other day. If this whole doctor thing doesn't work out, you know, you could definitely do something like that. I think you should do a doc cast
Yeah.
or
You
a
know, the
cane
problem is
cast.
my dot casts turn into rants about me going off about stuff. So then, you know, I would need like a HBO special or like I guess a podcast, because you can cuss on podcasts.
Oh yeah, fuck
You
yeah,
know,
to say the
that's
least.
that's the overall problem, because it always turns into some rant that I go off on a tangent on.
Well, that's okay. Rants are
Yeah.
good. You just have to, you know, I'm not a huge ranter, so but when I do get on one, it's usually, you know, I try to make it funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
Mine are funny, apparently.
So there you go. Yeah.
Just sometimes, you know, they don't sound too nice.
Yeah, that's okay. No, who's nice on these things? I might be
know.
the nicest guy out there.
I'll just come on with you, and we can talk about whatever. And then if you catch me in a rant, then there you go.
Oh, that'll be awesome. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd like you to come on as often as you can. Like I said, you're welcome any Monday, and fingers crossed, one more good advertiser, and I'm going to add Wednesday to the list. So
Yeah, let's do it.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, you can just text me. I want to rant about this today,
Okay.
and then I'll get out of the way and then try to pick it apart as best I can.
All right. Perfect.
So we didn't get to talk about this last week much because, yeah, I told the guys I wanted you and Dave to have a chance to catch up with AJ.
Yeah.
So I wanted to block off more time for both of you guys today. And so tell me what's been up in your life since we last chatted. 2 years ago.
Well, man, it's been busy. Like I think I told you before, but you know, after COVID, things just took off.
Yeah.
So yeah, work's just been busy, and you know, taking care of the baby, and I don't know, stuff like that. It's like a lot of work. I tried to go on some vacations recently, and I went to France, stuff like that, you know, but life's been good, and I can't complain. And I've been doing a lot of surgery, but we've also been doing a lot of hair, you know, that's been a really big kind of uptick, I would say, in the last 3 years.
Well, I was telling you, even during the last year and a half or so, I'd get 3 or 4 DMs from people, and they'd ask me how it went, and I'd tell them, hey, it's you know, it's I mean, I like it. You know? And now when I did have the Crypt Keeper look for a while, because there's a part of me that wanted old school rock and roll hair. And I knew that it was time for a haircut when I was standing outside a gas station and a guy gave me a quarter. Like, yeah, I mean, because it was just way stringy and goofy looking.
Yeah.
But you know, fuck, I haven't had hair like that since I was.
When
a
you
kid.
get it, you got to grow it out like that if you can do it. I can't. There's no way. Even though it's way better, I could not grow it out like you had it. You had it down to here.
Oh yeah, I had it down to my shoulders.
Yeah.
But no, I mean it worked for me, and yeah, I've talked about it. I probably shouldn't have gone to work that day, but I could. I mean, it's not that tough of a procedure, really. It's like going to the dentist.
You were at work, and I turned the podcast on my phone, and I was in shock to see you sitting there with your wrap on. You looked all swollen.
I did not. Well, it's easy to say this. I never look great, but that day I did not look great. I looked like I had walked into a machete fight and stepped in between the two.
I mean, it's a lot of little needle things. You know, you do get a little swollen. So not to freak anybody out, but you know, the best part of it is after like 3 days, the swelling's kind of gone, and you know, and the pain is gone, and you're pretty much on your way to having hair. But
and it wasn't much pain though. Let me just say that. I mean,
yeah,
I know as a doctor, you always have to give the worst case scenario because, you know, oh, Fred, which somebody did to me in the last year is, Fred, we think you might have pancreatic cancer and you got 6 months. It's like, no, it's just an inflamed pancreas. The next day, you get a test back. So you're giving the worst. There's not much pain, guys. It's just, like I said, it's like going to the dentist. And they just numb it. And just like they numb your cheeks when you go there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what we typically do is like start on the back and the sides and numb that up. So yeah, you know, you feel the initial needle, but that's it. And then, like I've done it, like we said last time, I've done it 2 or 3 times, and I I think I listen to like some audiobooks or music. And then the second half of the day is where we put them in. So you get numbed up here, and I watched a movie, and I've done that basically 3 times now. So, yeah, if you can handle a little needle stick, a baby needle stick, then you're pretty much on your way.
Yeah,
And you don't go to
you only
sleep.
feel half of them. I'm honest, to be honest with
Yeah.
you.
You don't go to sleep. And I do another thing where we give some like laughing gas, so it kind of makes it even more tolerable now.
Next time when I get it done, I'll probably take an edible before I go. Just
Yeah, go for it. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with that. It'll just help.
I didn't watch movies. I just flirted with your staff, so
That's fine too. They're used to it.
That way, if I take the edible, I can use that as an excuse, right?
I mean, yeah, oh yeah. That's why I pay them well.
Oh, so
what other questions? No,
nothing
sorry.
to rant about today?
What'd you say?
I'm sorry. You got nothing to rant about today? Now's the perfect time.
No, my rants are pretty much related to like specific things with plastic surgery. I would say people like to ask about lymphatic massage after surgery. So, I go off about that because essentially what they've done, Fred, is people they try to pin stuff on the patient. Okay. So like, hey, we did all this liposuction and tummy tuck, but if you don't get your lymphatic massage, the whole surgery is ruined. Okay. And so like people get psychotic about these lymphatic massages. And before lymphatic massage, everybody was fine. Okay. After, now that they do lymphatic massage, it's become this whole thing that people are obsessed about. And it's an easy thing for even the surgeon to be like, oh, and you can pin, they're almost pinning a negative thing on the lymphatic massage, which makes no sense. It's, if you do or don't get lymphatic massage, your overall result is no different. So there's a whole historical, like boring background for like our viewers that I'll spare you on, but it's all pretty crazy,
Oh, see, guys, this is what smart people debate about, right? we're all talking about, oh, is July the worst sports month, or is a hot dog a sandwich? And
July is the worst sports month. Everybody knows that.
Oh, Tiny Greg, I just don't get it, and we worked together for a year and he just would insist it's February. And I love the guy, but I think on this one, he's just insane.
It could be February, but like February sucks overall anyways. There's really nothing going on. It's cold and like, it's just the worst month. So like if it sucks, it equally sucks with like, the sports realm. So the fact that it's summer and we all want to do stuff, and then you have nothing sports wise, that makes it a little bit worse, I think.
Well, and he's from the East Coast, right? So I'm pretty sure that, he was stuck in the snow all the time and it was just, life was miserable. But we still,
yeah,
we got college basketball and it starts getting interesting then. We got
right.
The NBA. We got this little event at the beginning of the month called the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I've heard of that one.
Right.
Yeah. And then I got NHL. I know most people don't care about that, but I just don't get it because I know that at least in February, if I'm sitting down in a bar on a Saturday afternoon, there's a college basketball game.
Yeah.
And
totally.
Yeah, there's not the Women's Football Alliance.
Is Houston going to get a NHL team? I heard this recently, but I haven't listened to hear about it yet.
It's funny because I think for there to be a team in Houston, Tillman controls everything at the Fertitta Center, right? So he would have to want a team, which I've heard mixed things about. If you brought in a new team, you'd have to build a new arena. Now, I was involved briefly with a group that was looking to do that. And the sites they were looking at were East Downtown because, you still got a lot of warehouses there and you could build a pretty nice arena. And then they had this other plan that, they were going to renovate the Astrodome and put an arena in there. And they just didn't have the money because you're talking about at least $1 billion to buy a team. That kind of renovation is going to cost you $1 billion. Plus, you probably need $1 billion in operating capital to start. And these guys had a B in front of their name, but they didn't have 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, and and they still have to make a living and have their lake houses for their hookers and blow and stuff. So
that's unbelievable. Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
All
Yeah, I
right,
have a
brother.
bunch of yeah.
Tell him one more time about what you do. And by the way, I've had 2 women reach out to me. I texted him about
Oh
this.
yeah,
He does work on women too.
that's something we should talk about too. Is actually, for women, they do. I think over time they've done so much plucking of their eyebrows. So I've actually, over the last year or two, we started to do a lot of like transplant to the eyebrow for especially for women. So that's a big thing that's like coming up. Um, yeah, I think the biggest questions patients ask or people that guys ask about NeoGraft is like, a, how much does it cost? I charge $4 a graft, so it's on the like low end, to be honest. Just because I like doing it, and everybody's different, their genetics and where they start. So we customize the plan, draw out the hairline. It's easy, and you got hair. So I mean, I think the other questions are like recovery. You're not going to be sitting in a board meeting or like getting in front of the TV camera within a couple weeks. But if you can wear a hat or give it a few days, then you'll be fine. Most patients tend to do it on like a Thursday or Friday, so they get the weekend, and by the weekend they're out doing relatively normal stuff. So, I mean, those are the basics.
All right, that's Dr. Kane Linville. Hopefully, he joins me every Monday, but he's going to join me as many Mondays as he can.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we'll have some fun stuff for you guys. And always a pleasure, Kane. And I will
Same here.
catch you tomorrow. I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, brother.
Bye.
Oh. Hey, Fred, can you hear me? I can't hear you, Fred. Hey, Fred. Fred, I think your mic is off. I still can't hear you. Is your check your mic, Fred? Oh,
Oh, I'm the one who's muted.
there we
That's
go.
why. Okay, now I still can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
How did I get muted? Yeah, I don't know what's wrong here, brother. It's not showing you.
I can see myself on the stream.
I mean, you're there. I can see you.
Yeah, I can hear.
I cannot hear you.
I can hear you just fine.
Can you turn your mic up on your computer? Okay, so this one I don't get at all. Okay, he taught me all of this. He walked me through every single step of this thing.
Oh,
yeah, that's a fail. That's a failure of God kind. Well, Fleece says, "Way to go, Fred. That's what you get for giving guests bleep for being muted." Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, man, because it's everything you taught me to do. I got your little blue dot going, and I can see mine where it goes green, but every time you talk, it's not going green. Okay, next. Oh, there you go. Wait.
You can hear me now?
No, that it's picking
No?
me up. It's not picking you up.
I can hear you
All right.
just fine.
Next time we're gonna have to do a pre-show check. Because I did that with Cherie, and she did the same thing. So, yeah, it wouldn't be a Falconcast without one minor disaster. So, anyway, Chris, I'll hit you up later. We'll have you on next week, man. We'll get it going. But
Okay, you can't hear me
I
now,
want
Fred?
you to tell people about your great new job and some of the other things you got going on with Betting Predators and give them some, and I want to talk some fantasy football because we're getting close. So maybe next week will be a better week for that because we're getting into August. But yeah, I'll be in touch with you, man. Sorry this didn't work out.
Can you hear me now, Fred?
So, yeah, I'm
No?
still not hearing you. So you got to learn the sign language. I think that would go over well. Yeah, and it's kind of fun having Kane on because he's an interesting guy, and same thing with Lawyer Dave. I mean, they just do different kind of stuff. All right, so I'm gonna move on. Sorry, Chris.
Okay, no problem.
I'm gonna go on to first off, I want to do a shout out to CNR Preferred Concrete Pump Company in Beaumont. Ronnie's the guy. If you have any of his any needs there, they're real easy to find. CNR Preferred Concrete Pump Company. I want to take another minute to thank all of our premium advertisers, Lawyer Dave, Dr. Linville, Vu in the Phoenix. We've got a bunch of other new advertisers as well coming. Pick Me Events is coming, and I'll have some information on them for Thursday. Of course, Lanham Industries, and we've got one other one that we will wrap up very soon, and then we've got one more big one. All right, so I have my final thoughts. How about final thoughts is all about Florida today? How do we feel about that? Our first story, and actually, I'm going to pull these two together, tell you how we could have solved one problem. So we go to Florida, where they caught a Burmese python, the longest ever recorded, 19 feet. And it basically says in the headline, the python is as long as a giraffe is tall. And of course they caught it in Florida, right? 19-foot Burmese python, the longest ever recorded, was caught by local hunters in South Florida's Big Cypress National Preserve this week. And it was caught on Monday by a 22-year-old who brought the python to the Conservancy of South Florida in his hometown of Naples. They measured him at 19 feet and 125 pounds. First off, I'm not going anywhere near a python. It's that big. That's not a python. That's a dinosaur. That's a we're all going to die thing. But guess what? There is a positive as we go to our other Florida story. A suburban Florida community has been overrun by rabbits. Apparently, a resident let loose some lionhead rabbits from their backyard, and the number of rabbits now outnumber the 81 homes in the neighborhood. Now, we all know the expression, right? Breed like rabbits. Yeah, this thing is blowing up. So I'm going to offer a solution to the people. Why don't you put the python there and let him eat all the rabbits? I mean, I don't want the python in my neighborhood, but with that many rabbits, he's going to be too fat to eat a human, right? And now you've solved a problem. And then, you can execute the python for murdering rabbits. Now you've solved that problem. So I think that would work out. Anyway, thanks one more time for everybody for tuning in. It's so funny because, I've got all this thing set up really well now. And, I know what happened with Astro's girl muted hers while she was listening to the beginning of the show. And I told her, don't worry about it. I can mute you on here. So that was easy to fix. I don't know what happened to Chris. I mean, that guy knows more about this than me. He uses this software all the time. So I got to talk to him and find out what the hell happened because everything shows just like it did with everybody else, and they all got in. Anyway, thanks so much for listening. We got AJ back on Thursday. We'll talk about all kinds of stuff. I'm saving more of that women's league for AJ just because there's a part of me that wants to throw that rabbit in front of the snake. Just because that's how I operate. And again, check out all our great sponsors. If you're ever around on a Friday afternoon, you can always find me at the Phoenix. Come by and we'll have a drink. I mean, that's a lot of times, Kira, I have a friend who comes and takes her out during the podcast because she gets really jealous when I'm on the computer. It's like, why aren't you paying attention to me? And she puts her paws on me. I'm trying to train her, but so a lot of times in the afternoons, more than once a week, usually I go over to the Phoenix and that's where I do all my work. And, check that place out and please make plans to come out on the 26th. Yeah. Throw that rabbit like the dog from Snakes on a Plane. Oh, we're all evil when it comes to stuff like that, but in a very good way. All right. I want to thank everybody one last time. Please follow Cherie, that Astros girl. She's a remarkable person, and she's a good follow, and she's just good people, and she plays along pretty well because she was more than happy to make fun of me, which is what we all do, right? We're all supposed to make fun of me. Okay, that's going to do it. Until Thursday, stay sportsy, Gulf Coast Bad.